choose your superpower. We're rolling 4 random superpowers, and we've got to pick which one is the best. 1, 2, 3, and number 4. Number 1, flesh mimicry. The ability to transform into or have a physical body made up of flesh. Number 2, candy artillery. The ability to use candy-based abilities by using ranged weapons as conduits. Number 3, book immersion. The ability to mimic the powers and traits of book characters by entering books. Number 4, space rock attacks. The ability to use space rock energy / substances for various attacks. Alright. Which one do I pick? Of course you go with book immersion. Why do you go with book immersion? That's just because it's way too up my alley. I can't help it. Flesh mimicry feels like more or less you're human. You've got a body of flesh. Candy artillery, you're shooting candy. Space rock attacks, you're shooting meteor things at people. But let's go into a little more detail. Flesh mimicry, technique of flesh manipulation, variation of organic mimicry. Okay. Capabilities. The user is made up of or can completely change their body into flesh. I guess that doesn't include like bones and stuff because I feel like we're made of flesh. Users' transformed form can be anatomically identical to their normal form, aside of being made of flesh, in which case it contains all 2 organs, all the organs, I'm not sure what it's trying to say here, and is somewhat vulnerable to attacks. Alternately, user can transform into homogeneous matter without any part of their form being more important than the other. Okay. Alright, let's look at this example. SCP stuff, autonomous and sentient mass of flesh, bones, and organs that is capable of absorbing biological materials into itself. I guess basically what this means is like you're just made up of skin. Because I guess that's what they mean by flesh. We'll have to... Yeah, I'm going to actually search that. The soft tissue of the body of a vertebrae, covering the bones and consisting mainly of skeletal muscle and fat. Okay, so you're basically made up of skin, fat, muscle, and that's it. So you're kind of like the kid from Inside at the end. Possible spoilers, I guess. That's more or less what I would imagine. And therefore, you're really kind of not doing a lot of impressive stuff with that. Yeah, I don't think you can do anything impressive with this because you're essentially just made up of normal things. Enhanced durability and vulnerability? Not really. You can still be hurt like normal. I guess you don't necessarily have organs and everything's equally important to you or not important as it goes. This feels like not really all that impressive. Like amorphous physiology, I'm assuming they're thinking you could like squeeze under doors, do Mr. Fantastic type stuff. I don't think you can do any of that. I'm going to be completely honest. This doesn't really feel like all that impressive. Candy artillery. The user can either use various ranged weaponry, such as slingshots, bows, guns, cannons, etc., as a conduit for candy-based forces, composed of candy itself, or impose those effects on ranged weapons to enhance them? What? Candy-based abilities by using ranged weapons as conduits. Really? So you're not shooting candy. That's kind of what I thought. It was like, okay, you have a gun and it shoots, milk duds. That's pathetic and useless. Candy-based forces. So this thing is like, okay, you can change something into cotton candy by shooting it. This also seems basically useless, especially when we compare it with book immersion. I mean, come on, that's just such a cool power. Yeah, that would be something that I would like, pick out of a non-random drawing. That would be something I would be very happy to have. User can enter the story as a character, observer, or themselves. Awesome. If they take the part of character, the user may replace them or merge into the existing one. Regardless, they gain the abilities, whether racial or personal, and equipment. User may be able to take other people with them into the story, or even take objects out of them into the real world. Note that unless they wish to do so, taken objects do not disappear from the story. Good, yeah, that's kind of something I would imagine. Yeah, fictional learning, good, nice imagination there. That would actually definitely work. Yeah, you could essentially, you could jump into any sort of, book world where they've got some sort of, download. Yeah, hey, look, you can write the Matrix as a book, jump into the Matrix as Neo, download all the fighting skills and all that kind of stuff, and then jump out, and you've still got all the fighting skills. That's great. You don't necessarily have the physical capabilities to do those things, but you've got all the knowledge of, all the self-defense and all that kind of stuff. That's something you could do any kind of, assuming that you could jump into a book and then take people's abilities out. I mean, that's kind of, yeah, that's nonstop, unstoppable. That's fantastic. This is clearly the best out of this bunch. Not saying much because flesh mimicry, candy artillery, space rock attacks. No, not very good. Space rock attacks. I've got to be honest. This probably I would go over candy artillery. This is very ill-defined, and I can't really figure out what it's going for. This, okay, you're shooting, shooting asteroids. Now, here's the thing. There's a lot of interesting things in asteroids. So you could have an asteroid that's made of pure gold, and you're going to attack very weakly at the wall. Boop. All right. So you're using like no force whatsoever, and you've basically just dropped a giant nugget of space gold into your living room. That's awesome. Now, watch out for radiation, because that's entirely possible that it's going to be irradiated from cosmic rays. But you now got, a easily accessible, essentially infinite supply of all kinds of, super rare materials. So that is actually incredibly applicable to real life. And then, to be perfectly honest, you then also have a gun on you at any point in time where you can just shoot, iron, out of your fingers. Bang. Okay, you just shot somebody. Oh man, what happened? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I guess an asteroid just like hit them. That's so crazy. It's so unlikely, but I mean, that's clearly an asteroid that, popped him in the head. What else could it possibly have been, officer? I don't know. It's so lucky because they were trying to mug me, and then, they suddenly just keeled over, and I called you guys, and yeah, I don't know. I didn't know what happened. I thought he had a stroke or something, and apparently, nope, he just got hit by a rogue meteorite. Gosh, that's a shame. What an absolute prince, and we're gonna miss him. We're gonna miss that guy. So can I go? I can go. Great. That's super fun. Okay, so this is actually a very viable second option. I don't mind this at all. There's no specificity on the, degree of attack. So I mean, yeah, I think you could, say that, yeah, you've got control of the variability on the intensity of your attack. So you can, yeah, like I said, attack very weakly and basically just produce any kind of space rocks, of which there are many that are incredibly valuable. And you could also use this incredibly effectively as a self-defense technique. So this is a really good adaptable ability, and I like it a lot. It does not hold up to book immersion because this is just super up my alley. I'm sure it's up your alley too. There's no way it's not. And the adaptability in this thing is incredible. Not to mention you could take out, it states very clearly you absolutely can take out, items, which means, hey, look, I jumped into my copy of, Infinity Gems, and bam, I grabbed the Infinity Gauntlet and I took it out with me. Okay, now I'm omnipotent, more or less. Yeah, okay, that's a absolute, killer power, and I pick that easily. Which one do you pick? It's got to be between these two. Candy Artillery? Come on. Flesh Mimicry? Gross. Book Immersion, of course. If anyone doesn't pick this, I'm going to be shocked, and you're definitely trolling. Anyway, with that being said, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for getting all the way to the end of the video. I legitimately, sincerely applaud you for it. And I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.